If you're a content creator, at some point I'm sure you've toyed with the idea of making a vlog, whether it's just an everyday vlog, a travel vlog, a get ready with me vlog, some sort of thing where you've got a camera pointed at you and you're talking into it, and quite oftentimes you're doing this in public. Now, there are a lot of reasons which deters us from doing these vlogs, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about some of the mental and psychological aspects of doing this, not so much into the tech stuff because we can always get around the tech, but it's really hard to get around our fear of vlogging and the fact that we think that people are staring at us, that we are self-conscious, and that we're going to be like, just everyone's going to be judging us, and then because of that our vlog's going to end up being terrible because we can't be natural because we're too busy looking around hoping that nobody else is staring at us, and we're not actually going to be able to say the stuff that we want to say in a way that makes us show our personality. And that's the whole point of vlogging. The point of vlogging is not to just present facts, because that's like a presentation, but the point of a vlog is to show our own personality and at the same time show the audience what we're doing, potentially sites, potentially activities. A lot of us dream of just making vlogs of us doing our everyday stuff, like going to the supermarket, going to the mall, going to the park, walking our dog, traveling, all that kind of stuff. And it is a really, really amazing genre of video making and content creating, because a lot of people like watching this stuff and a lot of people find it interesting to watch other people doing stuff. But like I said, it's the way we make it. And in this video I'm just going to talk to you guys about my thoughts about sticking a camera in front of my face and how to at least try and make myself feel as comfortable as possible, because it doesn't come natural. So let's get on with it. So the first thing is, there's a saying that the best camera is the one that you have with you all the time. And in this case, everybody has this. This is a phone. On the back of the phone, there are three big lenses. And despite what a lot of people would assume, these three lenses tend not to be the things that we use predominantly when we do talking head style vlogs like this, because the natural thing for us to want to do is we want to be able to see ourselves. So we hold a camera like that so that we can see ourselves on the screen. And by definition, we're using this little crappy front camera here. Now, these cameras are getting a lot better than they used to be, but they're still nowhere near as good as these ones in the back. So that's something to bear in mind when you use your smartphone to vlog. These are great because if you're taking scenery, if you're showing the audience stuff that you're doing around you, these are perfect. But if you're just pointing the camera at yourself, most of the time you're going to be using this relatively crappy one at the front, and you just got to bear that in mind. It is supernatural for people to see other people walking around the streets talking on the phone, because everybody does it. Yes, granted, most people are doing this, but a lot of people are doing this and doing it on speaker. And if you're holding your phone out like that and you're walking down the street talking to it, people just assume that you're on FaceTime. People don't necessarily associate the fact that you're holding a phone in front of you as in you vlogging. A lot of people feel that's more comfortable for them because it's like, no one cares because I'm just FaceTiming my dad or FaceTiming my wife or whatever. And psychologically that feels okay. But here's the thing, when we vlog, especially for things like YouTube, not so much for things like TikTok, when we vlog and when we do long form vlogs, that's hard to say, when we do long form vlogs, we tend to do our videos in a horizontal rather than a portrait kind of style. So what that means is the videos are sideways like this and not vertically. When you hold your phone like this, vertically up like that, it just looks like I'm talking on the phone to somebody using FaceTime. On the other hand, when you start holding it this way, you kind of get the feeling that the person who's doing it is doing something a little bit different to doing FaceTime. Yes, you can FaceTime that way and all that kind of stuff, but people start to think that you're filming other people because they don't know necessarily that you're using the front camera, and they just assume by holding it like that and you're pointing at stuff, it looks like you're filming things, and that becomes a trigger for a lot of people's anxiety when they vlog because they think they're getting stares. So yes, this is a good starting point, but if you're doing vertical video, that's perfectly fine because no one's going to give a shit. But if you start pointing the camera on the side, people are going to start thinking, and that's the whole thing. I am not saying that everyone has this problem, but there are a lot of people who this video is primarily designed for. There are a lot of people who are interested in trying to start a vlog, but they're just nervous about the fact that they're going to feel self-conscious and that they're going to feel like people are staring at them. And I'm trying to give you tips on how you can reduce the likelihood of that by using certain pieces of equipment maybe, or just altering your mental state to accept the fact that people might stare at you, and that's it. So let's talk about this. This is a mirrorless camera with a flip out screen, and it's a very, not necessarily this camera, but this sort of camera is a very common and popular vlogging camera. And on top of this, a lot of people put a big mic on the hot shoe. So this is not exactly inconspicuous. A lot of people who like to vlog, especially people who do daily vlogs, they like to do stuff like, I'm going to the supermarket to pick up some shampoo, and they like to vlog that. And walking around a supermarket or a mall with something like this, pointed at us like this, you're almost guaranteed to attract attention. And also there are going to be situations where the shop owners are going to tell you to stop filming because they just don't like big cameras in the store. So if you're nervous and you're trying to vlog for the first time, camera like this, although they provide great video quality, may not be something to start with, because you're going to feel super self-conscious when you've got this big piece of equipment and everyone knows you're not talking to somebody on the phone here. You're definitely using this for the purpose of filming. And if you're nervous about it and if you're a little bit apprehensive and you don't know what you're doing, this is probably not a great place to start, because you are going to feel really self-conscious when you're using something like this. We go on to then smaller cameras, like things I like to use. This is the Insta360 X5. This is a 360-degree camera. And the thing that I love about these sort of cameras, as I've mentioned in previous videos, is you don't have to point it in the right direction. So basically you can just hold it like this, usually with a stick, and you can actually decide when you get home which way your camera wanted to be pointing. Because of the nature of the 360 camera, it films everything. So you don't specifically have to turn the camera to film that and turn the camera to film that. You just point it there and you can just edit it in post using the Insta360 app or the software, and it's perfect for that purpose. But however, it still looks big. It doesn't look like a phone, so people get a little bit suspicious, and people are going to know that you're doing something in terms of filming. And I'll get into that at the end of the video, but it's not ideal if you're self-conscious and using it in places like a store, because people do know. And the last piece of equipment I just wanted to show you in this video is this. So this is the Go 3S. Now, this has been touted as the perfect vlogging camera because it's small. And if you get the black one, it can be relatively more inconspicuous when you use it, because it kind of blends in stuff, especially if you wear dark clothing. The good thing about it is it has a flipping screen, so you can shoot at different angles and you can kind of do a little bit of stealth. Like, a lot of people feel a bit creeped out by the fact that you're using stealth because it looks like you're trying to hide something. And when you try to hide something, you yourself make nervous. And if people notice it, they get suspicious. One of the great selling points of a camera like the Insta360 Go 3S is the fact that the camera detaches into this little baby thing. So that makes it even smaller. And with a magnetic pendant, you can potentially stick it on your chest or stick it on your head or something like that. And supposedly people don't notice it as much. But the problem is when they do notice it, they know that you're doing something that is slightly kind of, I don't know the word, it's not creepy because you're still just filming, but people are going to think, why is this person using such a little camera and like hiding it in their shirt or sticking it on their hat? Why are they doing this? Are they trying to film me without my permission? So yes, this is a great kind of solution because it's sold and marketed as a camera which helps people vlog because it's inconspicuous and you can stick the camera to various things because it's magnetic. However, psychologically, it still comes with a little bit of baggage that you have to overcome. So having said all that, well, I've gone through the type of cameras that one might use to vlog, but none of these overcome the fact that mentally you just got to get over the fact that yes, you are pointing a camera at things, potentially people, whom have obviously not given their permission for you to do so, and you're walking around talking into a camera, trying to be natural whilst there's people around you. How do you actually get around doing that? And the answer is it's not easy. There are people who watch this video and say, this is silly because it's just normal, nobody cares. And that's a lot of the way people talk themselves into the fact that it's okay. If I'm pointing a camera like this at me and I'm talking and I'm walking around, there's big crowds everywhere, I don't care. I'm just doing what I want to do, and if somebody wants to laugh at me, somebody wants to judge me, that's okay. If that's your attitude, you probably don't need to watch this video because you're good. But for the 99.9% of us who are nervous and self-conscious about filming us in front of people, we need to get it into our head that it is something we're doing, we're not causing any harm, and there will be looks. There will be people judging you. There will be people who will actually walk up to you and say, get this camera out of my face, I don't want to be filmed. But on the other hand, there might be people who are actually going to come up to you and ask you, what are you filming? Are you a YouTuber? Are you making videos for some sort of commercial project or something like that? You never know. But that's something that we just need to accept as part of what happens if we choose to go the vlogging route. There will be people who do not want to be filmed. And when it comes to legal rights, when you're in public, nobody has a right not to be filmed. And a lot of people do prefer to blur out all the faces in the background of the videos. I find that too much of a hassle. And legally, you don't have to. In most countries, and I don't know about where you are, but where we are, legally, nobody has a right not to be filmed as long as it's in public. But when you go to things like malls, it's not a public place, it's owned by a business, and they have the rights to impose their own rules. So you just got to be aware of that. Most of us don't vlog with the intention of exposing people for doing stuff. Like, for example, if I'm vlogging or taking video and I see someone who's in the background who's doing something that's kind of awkward for them, and I know that they would feel embarrassed if they would seen doing it. For example, once in a while, if they're scratching their butt or picking their nose or something, I edit out that part of the video and I don't use it because of my respect for the people who are in the background of my videos. They didn't ask to be in the video, they're not getting paid to be in the video, so the least I can do is to make sure that they're not put in compromising or unpleasant or negative situations. So that's one thing I look at very carefully when I edit, is to make sure that the people who end up in the video aren't doing something that could make them look bad. All of this is just mental. All of this is up here because essentially nobody cares whether you're filming or not. Nobody, like, you think about it, it's like me, like, I feel self-conscious when I have a camera and I'm vlogging, say, in a supermarket or in a mall where I live. But if the same situation arises and I'm overseas on a holiday and I'm just going like, cool, look at this brand new food, I'm in, I don't know, Japan, and I've never seen this food before and I'm filming it, I don't feel self-conscious at all because it feels like I'm on holiday. So really, what is the difference between me filming a supermarket here in Sydney and me filming a supermarket in Tokyo? The difference is it's psychological. I live here, I'm not a tourist, I'm not walking around enjoying new things apparently, and I have no right to film my local shop, but it's perfectly okay to film something that's foreign because it's something that I don't go to a lot and I'm likely never to visit again. So it's all a mental thing. Can you see? There's no difference in reality between filming some content in your local store than filming some content overseas. But it's what happened in here, and that's the whole thing about vlogging. If you're nervous, if you're standing there and literally, I'm saying, if you're vlogging and you're going like, hi guys, it's Derek, I'm just here at the supermarket and I'm filming myself getting a loaf of bread, and you're all agitated and nervous, it's going to show in the video, and if that's the case, you might as well not until you get enough practice that you're okay. What can you do if you're nervous? Well, you can start off with vlogging in places where there are no people, vlogging outdoors, vlogging in places where cameras are common. For example, if you're in Disneyland, no one's going to care that you're filming because everybody's filming in Disneyland. But not everybody's filming at your local trading card store. Put yourself in a less stressful position to start with, and the situations and scenarios where it's less likely to be stressful is places where there are lots of tourists, where there's plenty of space, where there's less people, and just attractions where people are expected to be taking photos and videos and you can just blend in. And by not going crazy to start with and making really loud, excited noises, and also using equipment that's appropriate for the scene, like not taking this into a shopping mall and just using your phone, stuff like that will help you get over the psychological hurdle of filming in front of other people. Literally, this all just takes practice. Literally, the more you do it, the easier it gets. It never gets super easy because people are unpredictable. No matter how long you've done this, you're likely at some point to get or come across somebody who doesn't want you to film them and they get offended. Like if you own a bakery in the middle of the city, you probably don't want to get your face in somebody's video. But however, if you're running like a specialty store that you want to get your word out, you might be okay with it. And if you work in a tourist location where you're making something that's unique to the area, you're probably happy to get filmed and put on video. So it's a matter of using your own judgment, it's a matter of using your common sense, and it's a matter of being safe. You don't want to feel in danger when you film people, because there are people who will potentially get violent if you stick a camera at them. Usually people are doing something dodgy, and you should be able to feel that anyway. And they're the things that I would never put on a vlog to start with. Walking around at Disneyland, walking around in a park, I would have no concerns whatsoever pulling a camera out, pulling a phone out and pointing it towards myself and vlogging. In situations where you want to do everyday vlogs, which does involve you going to crowded indoor spaces where there's going to be a lot of people who are there not to entertain you and not to be part of your show, but just to be there to do their everyday stuff. You see, people who go to the supermarket, go there from work, they may be hot and sweaty from just being on a train for the last hour and it's 35 degrees. They may be not feeling their best. They may have other problems. They may have had a fight with their spouse. You don't know. And the fact that you're walking around pointing a camera at these people, you just got to be sensitive to this situation. And like, there is a way to get around it. You just need to practice. And lastly, before I conclude this video, one thing I want to just give you a piece of advice on. If you're nervous and shy and you're a little bit hesitant about vlogging in front of people, the worst thing you can do is try to sneak it. You know, I know that sounds counterintuitive. You want to do it in a situation where, I'm just going to film like that. I'm just going to pretend I'm looking over there, but I'm actually filming you, that kind of stuff. It's awkward and people can tell. Like, if you're just quickly going to, like, for example, if you're filming a set of keys and you quickly just stick the camera out and put it straight down, people are going to know, because it's not natural. You're looking nervous, you're doing stuff that just looks weird. And if you're going to do it, you might as well just hold it up, do it like this, and people go, well, at least this dude's filming his keys. I don't know what he's doing. Like, why would you film your keys? But at least they know that you're actually doing something rather than sneaking, like putting it behind here and just doing that sort of stuff and quickly hiding it. Because the last thing people want to do, let me reinforce this, the last thing people want is for people to sneak up on them and take video photos without permission, because it's creepy. Even if it's not illegal, it's creepy. Don't make it so hard for yourself, and don't wreck it for everybody else, because the reputation of vloggers is already not that great in public, because like I said, people just don't like to be filmed without being asked. And that is the nature of vlogging, because everything is spontaneous and everything is natural. You are not going to get to a spot where you can walk around at a tourist attraction and have no one else in your video. You're not going to be able to get to a spot where, if you want to get to a point where you're filming yourself shopping for clothes, you're not likely to be in a place where there is nobody else in the shop, it's completely empty and there's no shopkeepers around and everybody's okay with it, and you can just walk around, do what you want, and nobody's going to judge you, no one's going to care. Everybody's going to judge you, everybody's going to care. So you just got to work out the best way of doing this in a way that makes you feel good, makes you be able to deliver good content, because the moment you're nervous, your content's going to suck anyway. And you got to do it in a way that you don't take away the rights and the freedom of others. And if you do that and you will enjoy vlogging, go for it, because vlogging is actually fun, and I love watching people's vlogs on YouTube. But the ones you see, the ones that are recommended to you on your For You page, they're pretty like high end in general. They're usually vloggers who have hundreds and thousands of subscribers, and you notice a lot of people who vlog are actually getting filmed by others. So if it's at the situation where you're at that level where you're walking around the shop and somebody's got a big camera like this or even bigger pointed at you, you're at the point where you're no longer nervous in public. I mean, if you can be followed around by a videographer, I think this video is redundant. But anyhow, thank you for watching. Leave a comment below if you have had any experiences with vlogging, any advice that you would have for the other members of the audience. Everyone has different advice, everyone has different levels of experience, and I welcome everybody to post and share so that our entire community benefits. Anyway, see you next week in another video. Have a great weekend.